now. And we're
I
live.
gotta get a towel background. Okay, do you want to share the checklist, please?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, towel walkthrough. Can everybody guess when we do the towel walkthrough? Correct, right before tile. Great job, everybody. So this is a memory jogger for all the things that would take place at the tile layout. So I put a picture of a tile behind me. In the end, there can be very intricate and detailed items that go into tile. A lot of bits and pieces that go into it, especially on a large house that have multiple bathrooms that we're working on. There's so many different parts and pieces go everywhere. How do we track it? How are we going to install it properly and complete the client's expectations? So this tile walkthrough checklist is for the PMs to meet with the homeowner, so our client, and the tile installer at the start of the tile process. If a lead carpenter needs to be on site, that's perfectly fine if that's what needs to happen. If a designer is needed, they can also be asked to attend that meeting, especially for some very intricate um, or elaborate or expensive um, tile or something with an extremely exotic or long lead time where we only have a limited amount where we know we need to make it perfect, then bring the designer along with it. Sometimes we have some clients that need a little bit more hand holding. That's when a designer would be as well. So the project manager, it's up to them to make that decision, who they need with them. Prerequisites, just have everything ready and on site at the tile walkthrough and coordinate all the people being there. Again, with just like the electrical walkthrough, this can be doubled up on a weekly meeting. So if the beginning of tile ends up to fall on a Tuesday and the weekly meeting's typically on a Thursday, then just have that weekly meeting right before the tile installer gets there. So that way you can double up your efforts. So prior to the meeting, um, we got all the plumbing roughed in, everything is installed out of the way. Where we're going to be working is all protected. Where we might need some blocking is installed. And then we have a couple of the boxes decrated in case we start needing to put together and actually lay out the tile. So we want drawings ready. So as soon as the meeting commences, then we can locate all items according to the layout. So we take the drawings, the CD should have all the tile elevations to go with it. So we'll kind of look at floor plans, widths, heights, things like that, as well as the elevations to show what we want. Then we'll take tile if necessary, just like what's the shower behind me. All the decorative glass tiles, what height do they go? There'll be a height on the drawings, but as we all know, that's based on what is built. So maybe the curb ends up to be a little taller, or the wall is an existing wall, so it's a little not square. So we're going to need to shave some tile. Do we shave from the top or the bottom? And that way we can take out those tile pieces and start assembling, so we can get the clients to agree, and we can draw it right there on our backer board of what we want where. Also during the meeting, then we lay out all the specialty items. So you can see some niches over my shoulder here that would need to be laid out. By then, prior to this meeting, the design team would have put together the CDs with those measurements, but when we went to go build it, we realized that we're bumping into a cavity, but the cavity can't work where we need it to work because of whatever's behind the wall. So the location shifted, the size changed of that niche. this is where we'd have the clients know that we were doing a 12 by 16 inch niche, and now we're doing a 16 by 12 inch niche, or whatever we're saying, or how the shelf heights within that niche, if they want to do half and half or 2/3, 1/3, based on Costco bottles or loofah shaving shelf or something along those lines. Anything else that's specialty that's going to go into it would be looking at seats, benches, floating seats, finalizing the height so we can hit the gaps of the tiles. We're not mid tile. Shaving shelf, so where the foot shelf would be, any just corner floating shelves. Looking around, verify all the caulking. You could do that not with the client, but behind the scenes with the installer. Make sure that we're getting grout in the right locations, caulking in the right locations in all the corners. Tile base, wood base, multi-piece tile base if necessary. There's could be wainscoting that goes around. Where does the wainscoting end? If it wraps all the way around over to a vanity, do we want the height of that wainscoting to change because we want it to hit perfectly at the top of a backsplash or top of cabinetry? Does that need to be adjusted a little bit? Where is bullnose going? Determine that. We can also then measure out where the shower door will go compared to where that bullnose is at the end of the shower. Any other items in there that I would be missing? Salima, Jack, Oz?
Nope, I think that's good.
Oh, I don't see anything.
This, of course, would be included in backsplashes. Those are a little bit more simple and straightforward. This checklist could, if it's a simple, just subway backsplash across there, that could just be done with the tile installer. The client needs to be there. As soon as it's something specialty, you want the client to be part of it, because there's always inevitably, do you want it this way or that way? And client would make that determination. So what we're looking for is just verification of everything, verification that everything can be installed. Sometimes we get feedback from tile installers that the walls weren't plumbed, our corners aren't square. This is our chance to verify that prior to install. So then the last thing we want is for the tile person to make an assumption. We're just trying to get ahead of that curve. Some of those items we like to determine, obviously, without the client being present, so we can make the best determination and present that solution to the client. But we ultimately don't want the tile installer to make that assumption. We want the tile installer to identify any issues, and then you as a project manager can make a decision on the best course of action.
Yeah.
Take a look at what's being potentially sealed, what tile will be sealed, if anything. That would have been an option that came with the contract. It would be an option that we could give the client at that time as a potential upgrade. And again, going back and make sure that everything is protected as clearance to get to the tile, get to the shower, get to the area that they're going to be installing. Post the project, once we get done with this checklist can get signed off on. Snap a picture, scan it in, whatever you need to do, post Slack, tag the PD if there is a additional work order needed. Otherwise, tag the DOP that the checklist is complete. PD then could take over and put together that additional work order if necessary, and then post it up for the client to approve. If no additional work orders are needed, then full speed ahead.
Yep. Pretty straightforward. Andrew, are there parts of the tile walkthrough that you would recommend the client is not in case there are conversations that we need to have without the client?
it's kind of a judgment call. I would go with what is quote unquote simple, but that is obviously subjective. I think subway backsplash tile is simple because the questions are is like, where would the joints between the tiles go, or is there a certain way they want it to end up? Sometimes clients want a random pattern, but random is like, here's a bunch of random patterns, but then you continue the random pattern. And we have some clients that like that and some clients that say, no, that's a pattern. So it's something to consider. So I think if, as soon as a client wants something that's outside of what would be simple, then you would include them in the process.
Gotcha. Okay,
For the most part, any shower, you should include the client because there just might be some questions.
awesome. Sounds good. Any questions about this process?
No, straightforward.
All right, cool. I will send an email out telling you where the checklist is going to be saved, as well as a recording of the video training. If you have any feedback, please feel free to email us and let us know.
Don't go anywhere though. Stick around. We got a bonus training. So we can stop